So you want to play Syndicate, but you're finding that Fireswarm is a little power crept. You're tired of playing bounties. Passiflora just gets heat waved and all the Seductresses get answered. And really there's not a lot going on besides Salamander at that point. But even then, it's kind of easy to play around if they bleed you in a round 2. So I put together something that isn't any of those things. This is going to be something completely unique to that. It's classic tribute cards. It's going to be a lot of cards with the tribute archetype, and it's a devotion deck here in this case, and it's tons of fun. It actually has a really good amount of points, good removal, good swarm control. It's just a very well balanced deck, and it, like I said, it doesn't depend on one of those specific areas to actually do well. So let's get into it here. We get the first game. It's going to be up against Imprisonment, and we are on blue coins, so it should be a little bit tricky because they have really good tempo in this case, but we'll do our best to get out of the round. I'm looking to get out the leader charges from them a bit early on, so hopefully we can get one right here even. And I think I was reading an article. My team puts out a lot of articles on this stuff, and I'll start sharing more of that with you guys. It's like, you know, post-season stats about which factions were the most played, which leader abilities were the most played, stuff like that. And then sort of some of the placements within our team for the players. But yeah, I'm thinking about sharing more of the which factions were played the most type information. I think it's really important. And I think I read that Syndicate was played less than 10% right now in Pro Ladder. Something of that sort, at least within the top couple hundred, because it isn't the strongest option. And you know, I want to take a deck against some serious matchups for you guys today, and I want to show you that we can actually make it work. And believe it or not, I did make a completely different tribute deck about 2 weeks ago, and I tried it out. I tried recording games, I played for a couple hours, and it just wasn't working out. So I deleted it, deleted the deck, everything gone, and I just had a new idea and way to take it for this this time around, and it actually worked quite well. So here we are, getting our poison engines out there in our thinning package. This is a really good mid-range deck. There's a lot of cards in that sort of 6 to 8 provision slot, just because we had some good options to round it out there. And we're playing a little bit into that self-poison archetype, but we're not going like all in with it. The Wretched Addicts are pretty good right now. The Bombs are pretty good as well.
Nose, mouth, any hole will do.
And we'll put some vitality on there just because we're going to be profiting quite a bit here, so there we go.
Same time next week.
We're actually keeping pace in this round pretty well. There, just give it vitality. I'm thinking about coming up with a contest for the channel. Just sort of airing it out, trying to figure out, or ironing it out. And once I decide on something, I'll put details of that in the community tab. This card's actually really good if you think about it. 4 provision, and it does 3 damage for free. So, you know, it's 6 points, but 3 of them are offensive. I kind of like it, to be honest. And this deck's pretty beginner friendly too, because we're not using the coin management as much as your typical Syndicate deck. You know, there's tributes which are on deploy, so it makes it a little bit easier. There's a couple spenders just in case we need them, but there we go. So they killed the... No, they stuffed the deck with the first one, so we can go ahead and put down the other brother and just get that out there, so at least the next one we pull next round is going to be worth a bit more.
Monsters! No, a goat will suffice for now.
And I'm seeing some hyper thin going on. I don't know if it's a Colgrim, I don't know if it's hyper thin at this point, like just reveal. But Tin Boy here should keep the round in a pretty good spot. If you think about it, that's actually great value. We got tons of damage for the card. With the provision buff, it makes it a bit more playable. It used to be 12 provision, now it's 11. And we just go ahead and take the round. It wasn't too bad. they did stuff our deck with 1 gold card, so we technically played that 1 gold card plus, you know, the other poison buddy there. So it wasn't like we spent a lot of provisions to get out of the round. Now we kind of want to tuck back the Wretched Addicts and look for something a bit faster. Really slow hands. And that's not a pushing hand, so we probably look for a pass there. We're missing a lot of golds.
Focus on its movements. Quiet the noise in your head.
Moving on to round 3, cards tied each side. The fist techs are not great. We have a lot of cards that are going to profit, and we have full leader. I don't mind 1 fist tech. I'm also a little bit concerned about them fist teching or cooing the trafficker, because I find that happens with some of these decks, and it's starting to look more like a Colgrim type deck. But just to be certain here. Fortunately, they have that from hand. That's generally why they'll use the other leader, but I guess in this case they were just thinking about going towards the Colgrim route with Imprisonment. And I'm a little bit concerned they're going to play like a Yennefer's Invocation or something like that, just because a lot of decks have it. But I'm sure it'll be fine. It's just one of the only proactive plays we have. And so, suspicions confirmed with that play. We know what it is at this point. There's only 1 of 2 things that are going to go behind that. It's either going to be a Stefan, normally, or it's going to be a Colgrim, so we could start planning for it.
I honestly don't know what you think this is, Vagrant.
Might as well use a couple of the coins here. Basically, I'm planning for maybe taking that defender away from them. Because even if they are to let the wit and make a copy of it, we have the ability to go into our deck, grab Junior, and just remove it. So it actually works out quite well for us. We'll just go and take that away, at least protect the cards that we have on our back row here. Coin well spent. And then, you know, if they make it with the Letho, we just basically kill that. And then we have, even if we can't get the poisons for the Colgrim, we have the tribute with the Marils. So it makes it so that they're a little bit stuck here. We even have room to take out the Sunset Wanderer. I'm sure it's going to be tons of points at this point. And Boris is just fine. Get some of the coin ready so that if we have to dive with banks soon, we can make sure at least we can go down 6 cards. But if we use a Fist Tech first, then we'll be able to get pretty much all the way down to the bottom. I guess just really struggling for proactivity here. So Sunset at 16's massive. We might as well go ahead and take a poison. Not going to use any coin here because we kind of want to save them.
I'm impressed.
And for a matchup against the clog deck, it's not too bad. We'll use a couple coin here just so we don't lose them. We want to... yeah, that's fine. 8's good. And then we can just use like a couple before we go for the bank next turn. Or just take the Morils here, actually. Even better. Renew's out of the way, so we know it's not gonna stick. So that's perfect. And then we can just finish up the rest of our corn in the last turn and pull out whatever card we need. It's really not that bad. Letho just copies a defender. It's not enough. Even with the leader charge here, it's not going to get them ahead. So there's no reason to even play. Nice win. We didn't even have to use all our cards, guys. Moving on to game number 2, we have Northern Realms. And I'm thinking this is going to be some sort of Witcher list, or I've been seeing some players try to bring back the inspired archetype, so we'll see what we have here. It could be either or. Jacques never really good in round 1. You want to tuck that away because we want to have just it play for its full value, at least round 2 value. And we have a Thin in hand. We got some poison cards. It's a little bit top heavy though, so I'm looking at maybe mulliganing back one of the golds. Tin Boy is probably something we don't need here, and maybe one of the brothers, yeah. And double bouncer, the greed got us a little bit, and that's pretty annoying, especially on blue coins. So when you find yourself in this position here, we're just gonna have to find a way to get out of the round and not lose on even. So it's gonna be tricky here. If it's okay, it's looking like Witchers already, so it's gonna be hard not to lose on even here. And I don't want to go and dump like a Morils or a Horson just because they play down a card that's going to last a while, because we're looking to get out of the round realistically. At 7 would be preferred even. Now it's unfortunate though, because the only way to remove that would be to basically take the poison on it. But then they already have 4 points on the board, so they can pretty much play anything and get ahead of us again. So it does get a little bit difficult in these situations where you have bricks in the hand. I think we just commit to it though. And so I'm hoping that they just put down like a 4P engine or something like that, and I'll just pass on it right away. But surely they have bigger plans here. So we gotta find a way out of the round. That to me is worth Morils, because if you look at the value it's gonna get throughout, it's literally a 2-point per turn engine that we can't even control. Like, there's no sense in using Horse, and it won't work. It's the shield. So let's go ahead and take care of that right now. I'm clicking here because I'm thinking, okay, if they pass, you know, we want to at least have our coin, and 6 points should be enough unless they amphibious. So that's actually not bad. That's not bad at all. It makes you want to go and play like the horse in and take it out and just wipe the board of the 2s. I'm thinking about it. I just don't think we should. Again, 1 amphibious assault away from just really putting us behind here, and I'd rather try and defend the card than be bled on even. You know what I mean? So just makes a bit more sense. Gives us the opportunity here to fix the brick in hand, look for some of our bigger point swings. There's one. Poison engine's pretty nice too. And we have self-poison, so I don't really think we need this tech here. Jacques could be played round 2, so that's not too bad. It kind of counters the amphibious, so it's a pretty good hand. And I'm hoping that they don't play down too hard. I think we'll do better in a long round against them because we have a lot of engines too, and we have some good removal options.
Can't see it
So
getting any better than this.
again, I'm testing the waters here. They're at 7. The play's not very fast. There's a good chance that they'll pass in this case. I was tempted to go Horsen yet again, but I think it's probably just better to take this here. And, you know, even if it doesn't remove it, I'd sooner rather, you know, just use Boris and remove it that way if we have to. And sure enough, we get the pass here. I honestly think bouncers are probably worth the take, just because I want to pull the Philippa. We want to get, you know, all that great stuff around 3. Perfect, and moving on, so far the hand's full of golds. That's good to see here. Wretched Addict's nice if it stays. The first turn's always a little bit awkward with it unless we get down the gallery first, but again, we're ideally looking for gold cards, because in this deck I find they're the ones that really change the game. Tin Boy would be really nice because we know they're row stacking, so even if we don't get tribute, we could still pull it off pretty well. The bomb's really good here. Fist Tech's not ideal here, but if we're doing an offensive poison finish, we need Fist Tech. So Wretched Addict's probably the one that's gonna go. Yeah, so Tin Boy comes out, and that's just too bad. I was hoping to have the Philippa for the Keldar, right? That would be so many points for us, but we still have an option to take it out with the horse, and so that's sort of what I'm planning towards. It's kind of the biggest threat that I'm worried about, the only sort of losing condition I'm thinking at this point. Because we've got some good tall punish, some good point swings, and some good wide punish. And it's really tempting to not, again, you have to be disciplined with the horse in this one. Just play our engines down here and just wait for it. And as the round goes on too, there's definitely consideration to start stacking some of our boost onto melee, because if you've played against Witchers, you know that they're notorious for running a Yurden. And, you know, so we gotta play around that, make sure the back row is not too tall. So maybe Jacques can go on the front row.
Anyone can be bought. Only
And I'm giving them Vitality now because they do boost. However, we lose that ability soon when they hit Adrenaline 6, I believe, when they purify at the end of turn. So make sure you're not giving those guys Vitality at the end of the round, otherwise you're losing coin. And I value this removal because I feel like it's one of those things where that's just going to get enormous value if we don't take care of it. Keldar's here, it's what we were waiting for as well. I was hoping that they'd at least boost it once, but it's fine. No hesitation, we go ahead and we take. And we are missing a little bit of value on every turn that we wait to get our poison engine out there, but again, it's one of those things where we just gotta, you know, take care of priorities, right? And so pretty much everything we have in hand can be played in whatever order. Poison Engine comes down first, and then everything else just kind of rolls out over which way we need to play it.
That clear?
Trying to keep it out of the boiling oil range. And so in a situation like this, I'm thinking that we're probably going to end up taking tribute on the Savola, but not necessarily the Tin Boy, because they're going to be row stacking in order to get more value on the Scytheman. And we can't greed it out too much just in case they have an Igni that's a lose condition, so I kind of want to make sure that the units on the roll aren't the same power towards the end of the round. It's a good opportunity now. I mean, if they were gonna Yurden, or sorry, Igni, they would probably just take it on this turn.
Live by the sword, die by the sword. What do they say?
I want to see corpses.
Nice tribute, and then again, changing the power. And then we can start thinking about maybe leaving that back row alone, because there's a big contrast in points here. And, no, we got 3 12s. There you go. Bigger picture. So, yeah, that row's pretty boosted. I don't think we should keep messing around with it too much. We want to put most of the points on the melee row, so we could put points into the Jacques at this point, and even the tokens with Vitality. And let's just go ahead and take that first to make the Scythemen less effective. And do I take one more? No, I don't think I do in this case. Yeah, let's save a coin. Just wait for it. It's clearly more points, but it's not always the best option.
What the? Who the hell are you calling hot-headed?
And I'm doing the math on this right now. Yurden wouldn't be enough. Igni wouldn't be enough. Heatwave wouldn't be enough. You can just do Boris on melee, kill a 3. Or even just do it. Yeah, you still kill a 2. And then maybe split the points a bit wider for the other ones. There you go, take that 'cause it's more effective. And just a couple vitalities on there and we should be fine. Huge lead. And I mean, you had to have expected it at this point. Still 22-point win, even though they have a Yurden. Next one's going to be a little bit tricky because we're playing against more of a control deck. This is going to be Skellige, Rage of the Sea, and expect a lot of rain. Hoping you guys don't hear any yelling in the background. Got friends over upstairs and they're watching basketball. Getting really into it, so I actually made a huge I'll probably write a little announcement because it'll make some of you guys happy, I'm sure. I made a big investment for the YouTube channel yesterday. I picked up a new microphone and a new preamp, and what that means, guys, is it's gonna make me sound so crispy. Like, it's the same microphone that Joe Rogan uses on his podcast. I spent more than I'm proud to say, but it was for the better, you know, the better good, the big purpose here. You know what I mean? It's gonna be something I'm gonna have for years, so I'm looking forward to it. There's like a waiting list for a month to get it, but the price with Black Friday was just like it was huge. If you guys are into microphones, it's the Shure SM7B, and it comes with the cloud lifter, so it's like this little box that's basically like a gain booster, and then that's gonna plug into my audio interface that plugs into the PC. It's an XLR mic, but it gives you that crispy radio sound. It reduces outside noise, and it sounds really nice. I spend a long time just like watching YouTube audio references just to make sure it was the right choice to make, but since we're doing uploads every single day, man, and I was looking at some cameras too. I didn't want to buy everything in one shot, so I split it up. I was thinking of maybe buy the camera closer to Christmas time and stuff like that, maybe like a Boxing Day sale or something. But I want to get like a legit camcorder, and you know, I might consider doing like more like live takes and stuff like that too. So they're just making a ton of copies of that, and the goal here is just to flood us with rain and take us out, so that's okay. I want to see as many of these commitments as possible in round 1 so we don't have to deal with as much nonsense later. Usually this matchup likes to bleed, so I'm kind of keeping that in mind here, right? And we got to be mindful of the fact that we don't want to poison kill our own units, and we don't want to put vitality on the wrong units like the salamanders, so you know, taking our time. You guys have like a minute and a half to do a turn, so sometimes just take your time, spend your coin properly. And we have really good push here.
We dare not set sail
Tons of value left in the hand, and we honestly like don't mind playing the whole hand, I don't think. Even Savola in this case. Savola is really good to win a round. It's only 9 provisions, right? And not on the... There you go. Makes it very difficult for them to pass. And we have 2 traffickers in hand, so if you take a look at that one, that's going to go up to 15 power this turn. Yeah, there it goes. That's a really good target. That's going to be a huge swing for us. It might even provoke a pass on the first fist tech that we could just finish it up.
My Fistek's purest tears, purest in honor.
There it is. So you see what I mean? Like, on a pass, we just get ahead. You really hope in this case that they do play, though. We want them to greet it. We want them to just really go for it. There it is. You know, it's not enough. Because when we're trading removal like that, our removal is better than theirs. So, you know, going for the fist hack here. Keep it out of Giga Scorpion range. And just go ahead and remove that. Keeps it really nice. And then literally anything in hand. Here, that just puts his head on even now. So they had to pass, they graded it out, and now it's going to cost them. We're going to see something big to get out of this round, because we're willing to go all in. Perfect. And we can play it a little bit slower because the more bronze cards we play in a round 2 bleed, the more effective it'll be for, you know, getting out a lot of their big cards. So bouncers are fine. We could just start playing down whatever we have here. Probably have to pass with about 3 cards in hand just because I don't know if it's worth the trade, provided we go first, right? Even like a fist tech here is fine. Sort of just assessing it every single turn, right? That's a little bit slow. And again, I'm not too worried, because if they pass, we could just go ahead and win the game. So they're not really in a position where they can. So even if we're not using this card most effectively, it's fine. When the Fulmar comes down, that's one of the things that we're looking for, right? Look at how much rain they have on the board. I think we can take one more turn here. I'm willing to spend Boris to see what they have in hand. Also because the carryover really helps. It'll make us start with 4 coin, then we have 6 off the leader, so we have an advantage in that sense going into a short round 3. But the last 2 cards I have are a little bit iffy. I'm more inclined to play Savola than I am to play Morils, but again, I wouldn't mind keeping both either. And that's probably where we'll call it. We saw a lot of gold cards come out. And because we have last say, we don't have to worry too much about all the rain damage, because we could sort of play around the first turn of rain at least. And top decking into a bunch of golds is great. Wretched Addict goes away, Vivaldi Bank's good, Tin Boy, Horson, Philippa, you name it, we have options. For a Devotion SY deck, it thins out pretty nicely. It plays pretty comfortably. And that's probably going to be the Defender, right? Yeah. So we kind of want to get rid of that. Just because if they play any sort of engine behind it, we have Reach. So Maril's here makes sense, especially because it has Doomed. We know they can't bring back the Defender again. And that's pretty annoying. So it's one of those things where I'm taking the coin, and Philippa is higher than Horson, so we'll just go ahead and take Philippa. Take the 5 over, it's a huge momentum. It pretty much pushes them out of the game at this point, because with what we have, we're in a really good spot. Savola was compromised there, but I just feel like it was worth it provided how many points we denied in this case. And I don't think we even need it to get ahead. And that Megascope's just really slow. At that point, I knew we pretty much won this game. It was feeling pretty good. Just checking our inventory here. I was looking at seeing how much coin we have. I think it's just better that we take this tribute here because it's free. And then we could probably just play Jacques Spend and that'll be enough to take the game, I'm guessing, but...
I must act.
There we go, and no need to spend it just yet. And, you know, the Savola still gives us 2 coins, so we do have 5 at the end of the turn. And Fukusha comes down last say. Yeah, it's just not enough. They forfeit while we pass. Perfect game. Moving on to the last game of the day, we have Pincer Maneuver, Northern Realms. Already thinking that this could be mages of some sort, but who knows? I've seen siege decks like that. Arch Griffin decks like that. You never know what you're getting into these days. Looking at the hand, we have an obvious brick. We got to take care of that first. Thinking about what will actually work here. We have good poison engines. Location will be better, but... And Trafficker goes, that goes, that's fine. I like when I have both of the Salamanders and the self-poison in hand. It makes for like a nice round on its own. And then we can have like a control type round as well. A bit of both never hurts, but again, I find it just gets a little bit tricky for them to count when we have all this poison points coming on the board in round 1. And I looked at the community tab we have here, and, you know, I've been working on making some of those requests happen. If you guys put in any sort of requests over the last couple weeks, make sure you check my recent uploads, because chances are I would have done it, whether it be in a YouTube short or in an actual video. If I haven't done it, either I'm getting to it, or I just haven't found something that worked yet. So... you know, if you're looking for something, I haven't done it yet, just remind me and I'll get on it. That's obviously not the best move here, but we'll go ahead and take that so that we can actually Horson that out next turn. A little bit worried about what they could be putting behind that, so... that's too bad. I would have rather they locked the front card, to be fair. So, yeah, we'll go ahead and take these. Really good point swings. Really inexpensive. I was thinking about putting arena ghouls in the list, but when I put it together, I found, okay, we could put in arena ghouls for 7 points, or we could put in the blind eyes for 3 points and 3 damage. Now, it appears like less, but there's more often than not times where we're going to want to remove, look, a Revenant, or a Whisperer, or something like that, and that 3 power, like the 3 power really helps, you know, and when you pair that with like Boris and Orson and, you know, cards that are sort of doing like little damage here and there, it's kind of nice. It really helps kind of round things off. So Arena Ghouls just had a little bit less chemistry for me in this case. Pretty cozy lead here. We could probably take a deck thin and look for a pass. I just don't want them to start establishing the revs and then really get ahead of us here, so... Oh, took a page out of my book. That's one of my favorite Northern Realms cards there, Vincent. I gotta say, I respect the revs. That's like literally my favorite Northern Realms archetype. It's one of my favorite archetypes in the game. And when revs become meta one day, then I'm gonna be playing so much of that. You guys will have to be like, stop making revs videos, man. So we had to play Savola to get ahead here, otherwise we just get taken on even. I've played so many, like I have mastery in mobilization for this reason. You know, I've played so much revs. I just know we can't give them that long round, so I had to put up the points right then and there. We got a few golds out. I like seeing Donamir, I like seeing Vincent, Marguerite. Like the lock's really good to see too, you know, because we have some engines going on. And in this case, I don't think that we want to really push in round 2. The hand's full of bronze cards. Again, we only have 2 golds here out of 7 cards, so we want to spend our time looking for some better options. And when you're doing mulligans, just make sure you're thinking about what's the strategy, how are we going to take this, you know, depending on the matchup. You're not always looking for the same cards in every game. And in this case, I like what I see here. We have a little bit of extra profit off the Trafficker if we need it. You know, Philippa's ceiling's increased, Horson's there, it's whatever. We're moving on to a round 3. If we get into mulligans here for round 3, I'm probably going to look to maybe get rid of the Trafficker, and if, you know, even potentially getting rid of the Casino Bouncer, because if we haven't thinned by then, I'm not prioritizing the thin in round 3, because if we brick that, we're almost like throwing the game, basically. So I often do mulligan back the thin package in round 3, if we haven't done it already. Or else good to see Fiztech and location. So in this case, we want to keep one of our poisons. We have a good amount of like cards that are profiting, you know what I mean? Yeah, kick like an actual Fiztech. I'd rather have a unit in this case. And in deck we missed bank. It's possible we missed bank because we didn't take the bouncer thin. We just didn't find the best time to do it. But it's fine. We still have a pretty good hand. Again, it's almost perfect. We know that their hand is probably going to be perfect with their leader, but our hand's almost perfect. So now we can sort of play that respond game. They play an engine, we look to kill it, so forth. And that's actually really cool. So I'm trying to decide what I want to do. That's a nice Philippa, to be fair. It's like a really nice Philippa. Like if they can't get rid of that, that's a really good Philippa. Like think about the potential here.
The object of dark desire.
And we happen to have mage. Kind of works out. Wishful thinking doesn't work. But at least we denied that from them. It's really hard to play Raffords in a deck that's not like Shield Wall or Inspired Zeal. The Defender would have been nice for them. So now we can sort of try and greed this out. I really hope Ratchet stays online because Fist Tech on that would be nice. I don't know if I mentioned this or not, but we're going to be doing some coverage for the Gwent Masters Season 3 next weekend, I believe. Got to. My teammates are in that, and it just makes sense, right? Hopefully, Legacy could take it home this year, guys. Let's get some hype for Legacy up in the comments. But either way, last time there was a Masters, I posted the VOD of the Masters, so I'll post it there potentially as well this time around. But we might be actually doing like a live stream on Twitch for it, trying to work something out with a couple teammates, maybe have like a panel going or something. And it looks like a Siege Revs deck. We're in a bad spot here, guys. We are in a bad spot. Let's try and get rid of some of this. That's probably the most points right now. And perfect. That's 2 out of 3. I don't think it's as important to remove Adalia. It's not doing anything. And I don't think the soldiers in the front really matter at this point. We want to kind of keep some of our coins so that we have more options for Morils and other stuff, right? So, be alright. That's kind of annoying. I don't know how tall they're going to be going in a Moril stack, so I'm actually thinking we take this here. We can hit the... Yeah, that's fine. And we take the spend. It's a pretty good trade here because that is going to play for a ton of points if we let it stick. The resupply ability, the every turn cooldown, and all of a sudden we have a game that's pretty close, and we haven't spent a lot of the good cards that we have. Hopefully Wretched Attic hangs on, because we want to be able to transfer that poison. We're really depending on that at this point. It's just one boiling oil away from dying here. Second Amphibious comes out, gives us a good option maybe for the Morils on something tall, or as tall as it's going to get. And the coins is just like, they're not really adding up the way we want them to, because if we Jacques no Trib, we get 4 coin, plus 3 off of self-poison, maybe. You know, Boris needs a death blow to get 3. It's going to be tricky for us to come up with 5 and still have, you know, a lot left. But fortunately, we did remove an engine, and Boris comes down here to take care of the other Rev. So now it's going to be very tricky for them to engine ahead, and I'm starting to think at this point in the game that we might actually win it. We got rid of the Rev just in time before they took away Philippa, so that's awesome. And I don't really have an answer to that, but either way it's fine. I'm looking at taking a bomb, but then I realized the mage is actually better. Just taking on a 3 across the top row here. And then that just keeps on engineering. Jacques' going to play for a ton of points. We're already up by 13. We have 3 in the bank, and we got the poison transfer, so it was no contest whatsoever. I'll see you guys soon. Tomorrow.